The Harsetti and Fenris situation is crazy right now, and I don't know if it's because I myself got a Harsetti like a couple of days ago from the ML5, literally less than 1 week, not even less than 3 days. Smilegate released a balance patch, which came out with a direct counter to Harsetti using Fenris. So I think this has been unprecedented from any gacha games I've ever played, and I think this is probably like my first, I guess you could say, Epic 7 drama that I see that's going around in the community. I'm pretty sure for the past 7 years there's been this huge amount of dramas going on, especially for a PvP game, right? But yeah, this is a very, very interesting situation because by the time this video is up, they have already reverted this, by the way. This is no longer happening. They have cancelled his exclusive equipment. Fenris exclusive equipment update, they literally cancelled it like less than like 2 or 3 hours ago. So this whole thing got rolled back. So to kind of give you guys an illustration of like why this is such a bad thing, right? His exclusive equipment, you guys will see in the video later by I'm Su, excellent Episode 7 content creator. It basically says, when playing against Harsetti, like literally verbatim, Harsetti in the equipment, when playing against her, you gain all these buffs. It is like the most blatant form of yep, I am the Harsetti counter, die, you will cease to exist, that I've ever seen any gacha. So for reference, right, if you want to think about it in like a Honkai Starbucks term, it is like, for example, if you were to pull for, let's just say you pull for Yanqing, right? Let's just say Yanqing has not been viable for like 10,000 years, and then all of a sudden they slapped on a Yanqing buff. They slapped on the Yanqing buff that said, when using Yanqing against Flame Reaver, right, because Flame Reaver is weak to ice, he will cancel every single clone spawned by Flame Reaver and deals an additional 500% damage against Flame Reaver. Yep, that's basically the equivalent. Except for Honkai Starbucks, Flame Reaver is a PvE endgame content where not a lot of people are gonna be that concerned with whether or not you can clear or don't clear, whether or not you have that much difficulty. Whereas this is, for example, this is a PvP game where people did spend money, premium currency, to obtain a unit that quite literally destroyed the meta for Epic 7 for, I would say, I think almost ever since she got launched. I'm pretty sure Epic 7 veterans can attest to this. Harsetti, in the words of my favorite streamer, Janazet, she ruined Epic 7. Yep, she basically okay, I'm not gonna go through why Harsetti ruined Epic 7. I'm pretty sure you guys already know if you guys play Epic 7, but TLDR, she removed speed stat completely, and then it just becomes RNG of see who goes first. Alright, so now we have a situation where if we are gonna be committing to reducing her impact towards the overall meta in Epic 7, because she does have, I believe, what 70-ish% ban rate. I don't even think you see that in any broken League of Legends champion. Name me a champion that has like that much of a ban rate. I think the last time you see that is probably like Worlds, right? They'll probably have like 100% ban or pick for like Khazad or like whatever. But yeah, anyways, let's take a look at this video about the Harsetti and Fenris situation. Is crazy, man.
Wednesday, my dudes, and I've not been home all day, so it's a very late Wednesday evening as I'm recording this. That said, I have seen the new Fenris exclusive equipment that was just shown earlier this morning over on Stove, and I've seen the community's reaction to it. And honestly, I'm not really happy about the entire situation because, as I've said in other videos before, I've played these games before. I know where this road goes, and I think it's honestly embarrassing that the dev team decided to put forth this exclusive equipment. So I want to talk about it in this video. So
keep in mind, this thing is no longer exists, right? They've cancelled this. It was so bad that they literally cancelled it last minute as I'm recording this right now. It's cancelled, and the patch got postponed even further. Like literally in real time, they're like, nope, yep, we're no longer doing this anymore. This is the one, right? So as of this ground moment, right, this was released, I think, 10 hours ago. This got announced, I believe, 3 or 4 hours ago as of the time of this recording. All right, they cancelled it, right? After carefully reviewing the valuable feedback and opinion shared about our hairs during the 5.7 update, we have decided to not include the aforementioned adjustments, which is basically Fenris and Yep, we plan to revisit Fenris in future balance adjustments with a focus on enhancing its utility from a broader and more refined perspective. As for Harsetti, we will continue to carefully assess your feedback and develop a comprehensive approach, including balance adjustments that align with the strategic gameplay Epic 7 strives to deliver, right? So blah, 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 blah. So as of this moment, this is cancelled.
Tonight after maintenance, as I'm recording this video, we will get a hero balance adjustment for Fenris as well as New Kid Autumn. Fenris will be getting increased combat readiness to the ally in the back row when he uses his skill 3. That's awesome. Makes him great for Hopeless Samaquis Expedition. I think that's pretty cool.
I have no idea what
Autumn
Fenris
is going to be getting some stuff here, a lot of
comments.
different changes, right? I'm not going to get all into it because I don't want the video to be too long. I just want to get my thoughts out on the meat and potatoes of it. But I do think this does make her quite a bit better. The extra combat race increase is quite good, right? The soul burn change is much better as well. So you can on-demand AoE, get that AoE injury, rather than needing the bigger buff to actually do what she's supposed to do. All of this seems pretty good. My problem comes in the new exclusive equipment, specifically Fenris here on this
that's the one. I'm gonna dive in. I'm gonna really like cook this by the bitch right here, right? I'm really gonna cook this. When facing Harsetti as an enemy, you get this buff. It literally allows you to increase your action value, right? The combat radius is action value. I'm trying to use this with like interchangeable Honkai Starbucks team so that you guys can maybe understand a little bit better. All right, this basically means even with Harsetti, he's going first. That is basically what I'm getting, right? Even with Harsetti, he's going first. And then after using his ability, he can push up another teammate, which completely invalidates the entire purpose of Harsetti. Because the way Harsetti works is she always goes first, and then the other 7 units is like RNG. Right? So with this thingy, people say he's like Zio, which basically completely ignores Harsetti, and Zio always goes first. Except now you gotta do it with another unit. So, like I mentioned, right, this is like the equivalent of like in HS. Okay, maybe not Yanjing, right? It's like the equivalent of if you put for, I don't know, Blade, right? You put for Blade. Blade has not been used for 10,000 years, and then everybody has been complaining with like let's just say like the Pegasus, right? The Pegasus elites from MOC 12 second half. The Pegasus elites that just never dies. And if you are still using like, you know, cooked units from last time with like bad team building, you're just gonna have a very, very bad time. So imagine if they did this for Blade when facing the Pegasus. And then blah, 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 right? Because the problem with this is not because of Blade specifically or the exclusive equipment, which kind of reminds me a bit of like the whole global passive incident that happened to Honkai Starbucks. It sets a extremely bad precedent for future units. You know what I'm saying? So for example, if right now we have Blade that says, okay, against Pegasus you do 500% more damage. So what's stopping from like another instance of like, okay, you pull for this unit, and then next time you just look for the fucking keywords that says when you face against this enemy, you deal 500% more enemy. Then like it literally doesn't make sense anymore, because this is probably like why would people even bother about team building? Why would people even bother about thinking of like speed crafting, all that kind of stuff? They no need to care about any of these, especially in a turn-based game where team building is probably like 90% of what the gameplay is about. You just need to find a keyword, you zoom in, oh, when using against this enemy, you deal more damage. It's so, what's the word? I think so much. It's a very lazy, right? It's a very extremely lazy way to kind of address the situation. Which honestly, for example, in Epic 7, I think Harsetti definitely needs to be addressed. HSR probably not that much because there's no PvP, but yeah, I digress, right? Yep.
I think that's how you pronounce it. Specifically, the second one here, Unwavering Will, which is very obviously going to be the one that everyone is going to play. Because it says on his Unwavering Will skill here, when facing Harsetti as an enemy, grants Will of Purification, only applies to PvP. Will of Purification is a unique effect that is undispellable. It increases the fighting spirit gain by 100%, and at the start of the first battle, increases his combat range by 50%. Unaffected by effects that reduce combat range increases of the caster, remains even after reviving. So this is essentially if you take Fenris with this exclusive equipment and are fighting against a Harsetti, it gives him a strictly better version of Zio's Supreme Authority passive. That gives 20% combat raise at the start of the fight. Essentially, that's what allows him to almost pseudo guarantee turn 1 in most matchups. This is a 50% increase, which means that if your opponent tries to take Harsetti and Zio, Fenris still outspeeds the Zio, and with the change to his skill 3, you do get that combat raise push up, which will allow you to basically build entire teams that will just completely nuke Harsetti off the face of the earth. It's a just ridiculous hard counter. Now, I believe that they should address Harsetti. We talked about this in the infographic video a couple of days back, right? Harsetti has a ridiculous pre-ban rate.
Ridiculous.
To the point where it is a problem that I feel like they cannot actually ignore.
Absolutely.
It's over 80%, or I think it was 70% of their infographic, but the data that we had previously prior to that was roughly around 80%. Previously, the big disaster units were always around 40 to 50%. So for her to be in the 70 to 80% range is an absolutely ridiculous thing.
Big tits, so it's okay.
They absolutely have to address the situation in some way. My problem is how they chose to address it. It is the laziest way possible. They chose the route of the silver bullet. Now, in case you're unfamiliar with the term silver bullet,
I've never heard this term before. Yo,
it comes from mythology. Werewolves, apparently the only way you could defeat them is to hit them with a silver bullet. Silver is the only thing that hurts them. Nothing else will actually get rid of the werewolf.
Bro, AP Master Yi back in
whatever you want to
bro.
call it.
And you AP Yi's in the chat. And you AP
That
Yi's.
said,
oh my lord, that was crazy.
it has
crazy,
another
crazy.
meaning that we commonly use in the card game community. A silver bullet is a easy, lazy solution to a complex problem. It is specifically designed to hose one thing and one thing only, but it comes with some drawbacks, right? Because
it's so bad because like if this was going to be the solution to all these kind of problems, right, which I mean Harsetti is a problem. 70% ban rate is honestly fucking ridiculous for like any sort of like PvP competitive game. 70% ban on pick. It is kind of, the problem is just if they were to use this approach, you either get this guy and you use it to counter Harsetti. But if you do get this guy, right? What about future occurrences? How would the balance of like RTA and like the competitiveness in Epic 7 even be like if this is going to start as like the first step? You know, it's gonna lead to a situation where they don't want to nerf a unit because, you know, technically nerfing a gacha game unit is always gonna cause like huge fucking problems, right? Because you almost never nerf. I think some countries it might even be illegal to nerf gacha units because people pay money for it. But like if this was like gonna be like going on, it's gonna become a situation where, okay, Harsetti users are gonna go into extinction, and then if you don't have Fenris, they use that as like the solution to Harsetti to pretend like, okay, we solved Harsetti. Which, in my opinion, I feel like it doesn't really solve anything because it's literally okay, have this thing and then you change everything. Because I think they initially did that with Young Senya, right? Because Young Senya was sort of made to like pseudo counter Harsetti with the AoE, but it turns out Young Senya did absolutely fucking nothing because people just end up using Young Senya with Harsetti anyways. So it is rough, man. It's rough.
for one,
Okay, Chenille and DDR, I think that's a very, very good example. But the thing is, you can sort of maneuver that mechanic, right? Because I think some of the Epic 7 veterans, they told me, if you do in fact face up against a Chenille as a DDR player, you just don't use your edge tree. Alright, just don't use your edge tree, and then you hold it, and then you just try to get rid of Lil Bro. Alright? But for this one, it's literally like the moment you enter into battle, is that you're gone. And like, what the fuck is Harsetti gonna do, right? I guess they could prevent it by running Harsetti with Baranga. Then I'm guessing Fenris has to aim Baranga, so Harsetti still takes a turn. But I'm not too sure if like the meta count stuff, but I'm just...
Silver Bullet is so obviously a silver bullet that every player knows it's a silver bullet. They can look at it from a mile away and go, wow, this just hoses this one card and it doesn't really do anything else. And it doesn't matter what level of play you are, right, player? A competitive one, a casual one, everybody knows that that's what it is. So it gives this sense that the designers are lazy, right?
It is.
They couldn't figure out a solution to a problem, and they designed a really lazy workaround. Now, the second problem with this is that if it doesn't work, then you have egg on your face. So now not only does your player base know you have no idea what you're doing, it's doubly apparent because this proposed solution, it didn't exactly work. And now I'm not saying that this exclusive equipment won't work against Harsetti. Just eyeballing it, it looks like it's going to be insane. It basically looks like you're going to get a free win against Harsetti. Essentially, kind of like soft countering her, removing her from the metagame entirely. She'll still hold a pre-ban, most likely, in World Arena. Like, she'll just hold a pre-ban hostage forever, which doesn't really also address the core issue. The core issue is that the character has like 80% pre-ban rate. Harsetti players will still leave it unbanned, and they'll just get rid of your Fenris, right? Or they'll pre-ban your Fenris.
Wait, chat. I have a theory. I have a huge fucking theory. Wait, hold up. Okay, since you mentioned about pre-ban, right? We are getting a Harsetti skin, right? We are getting a Harsetti skin this season. So what if they use this as a way to finally remove Harsetti from the pre-bans, and people can actually play Harsetti and use her with the skin next time? You get what I'm saying? So finally, bro is like, Harsetti is finally gonna let out Joe, and people can actually use Harsetti as a unit and use the skin that they're giving out. Because at this point, if you're gonna get pre-ban or like 70%, 80%, then who the fuck cares about the skin? Right? Nobody's gonna even use it in RTA. You know what I'm saying? Am I cooking? Am I cooking? Or is this like that's your team for oh deadass? Oh shit, yeah. Because they literally made a Harsetti skin, right? But if her situation right now is like, you know, 70% pre-ban, nobody can even use her. And I feel like the timing is so convenient that this exclusive equipment came out to like hard counter her. So I guess people will stop pre-banning Harsetti since, you know, you can get a Fenris and just do the thing. And now people can actually use Harsetti with the skin. Okay, I'm just cooking.
Right, so they don't have to deal with it under ban pick protection. And I know some people are gonna ask me, like, hey Sue, how do you know all this? Why are you just speaking like this so casually? And once again, if you guys seen any videos where I talk about this stuff, I have played these games before. Ooh. Right? Let's rewind the clock back about 15 years or so.
15 years!
Competitive card game.
Oh, some of my chat not even born, bruh. Some of my chat still a sperm, bruh.
Into doing
holy
game
shit,
design.
15 years ago, it's crazy.
Naruto collectible.
Absolutely, bro.
Game.
Legit, some of my chatters right now, they're literally a sperm.
In the Naruto collectible card game, we had a card called Naruto Uzumaki Overflowing Chakra, right? And it has two effects. The first one doesn't really matter. You don't need to understand what it actually does. It was supposed to be a drawback. It didn't work. Let's talk about the real problem.
He was a
with this
game
card.
developer
This
of
card
Bandai
says that this ninja cannot be affected by your opponent's effects. That means that all of your opponent's cards do nothing to this card. They cannot interact with it in any meaningful way. They cannot target it. The effects don't work on it, period.
That's crazy.
Right? So the only way for you to beat this card is you have to have greater stats than it. And it has 4 as its attack and then 6 if it's injured. So what happened is when this card came out, the entire game warped around this specific card because you literally can't interact with it.
Damn,
so the entire way that we had to think about the game was you just have to play what are called pump spells, basically things that increase your power to be stronger than Naruto. Historically, these are not very good things in card games because if you play something that says that you get plus 5 attack, and I respond by just using something that removes it from the game, you wasted a card, and now you just get completely wrecked. So most people don't try to play pump effects. But because of this card's existence, everyone has to play pump effects because they can't deal with this otherwise. And so it over-centralizes the whole game on this one specific problem. And now, if you are somebody that's not playing Overflowing Chakra Naruto, and the person you're playing against isn't playing it, then you guys just have a deck filled with pump spells that are there specifically for this one card that that a lot of people are actually playing.
Oh my god, wait. Okay, imagine if this Harsetti, oh wait, not Harsetti, right? Imagine if this thing actually came to be, right? Imagine if this thing came to be. So, people would just assume that you have Fenris, and then they just never use Harsetti. And then those people who built their Fenris, who spend their molars on Fenris, or God forbid, you spend the fucking limited unit selector, because I'm pretty sure week 4, the selector has a Fenris. I was even considering myself to get Fenris after I heard this news. So imagine if you went through all that, and then the fucking Harsetti player just, okay, nah, I'm just not gonna pick her. The fuck? What is bro gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Because his entire purpose right now, like his entire existence is tied to countering Harsetti in PvP, right? So the PvP guy just doesn't play Harsetti. The guy that pulled for Fenris has a lot more to lose as a player, because you can still run Harsetti in Guild War, right? You can still run Harsetti in like arena offense, maybe not so much in defense anymore. But the Fenris guy is like, okay, as the Fenris main, as the guy that invested in Fenris, I'm now gonna look for Harsettis. I just spent like all this money, all these resources, all these molars on Fenris, and then everybody's like, oh no, we're just never gonna play Harsetti ever again. Wallahi.
And so the person who actually packed removal, which is suboptimal in a game that revolves around this, they're going to be advantaged. Like it completely ruins the state of the game, and no one enjoys it. And so there's usually like a gentleman's agreement at locals. You're not going to play Overflowing Chakra. It's a huge problem. Now they could nerf Overflowing Chakra, but that comes with another set of problems, right? And that is the third Hokage addressing past wrongs problem, right? So this card was an incredibly powerful card when it first came out, right? It was the best card in the entire game. They eventually ended up gutting it, but that comes with a problem in a physical card game. Twofold, I should say. Number one, it pisses people off because they spent a lot of money on their third Hokages to be at the top of the game, right? To be the best players to win the events.
As a guy that has a Harsetti, please don't nerf Harsetti.
But second off, because it's a physical game,
right? Please.
You basically have to issue
hell no.
some kind of compensation, some kind of do-over, because this card, as you see it on your screen, this is not the official text
how the
of the
hell do you
card.
even nerf Harsetti?
So you're going to be playing...
Because Harsetti's problem is not even like her damage, right? It's not even her damage, it's not even like the stun or whatever. It's just for the fact that that passive, it just completely invalidates speed. You can't like... It's legit either like 0 or 100. You know, you either have this passive or don't have this passive. How do you have an in-between? Because there's like the entire... Nobody pulls her for like what, her damage, right? Or like the stun for Abyssal Crown. It is simply just for that passive to be there in infect, and then just invalidate the entire speed tuning. How do you even nerf Harsetti? No RNG speed online is Harsetti first. Removing the speed RNG would fix it. So... she still makes the characters go based on their own speed, except that Harsetti always goes first. Is that what you guys are suggesting? So it still follows a normal speed order, but Harsetti just always goes first no matter what. Okay, but I feel like that would still like greatly diminish the value of her own play, though. Because like her whole purpose is to basically make sure that you can run slow teams, right? You can run slow teams, but if you're gonna be keeping the speed order, then wouldn't you still want to outspeed with your other 3 units? Because otherwise your opponent is still gonna go, and just because Harsetti can land like an S3, it doesn't make the entire team cripple, right? The issue is the turn order. So like right now, if you are playing Harsetti, you're always gonna be playing slow. So everyone on your team is probably most definitely gonna be slower than your opponent's team, right? So even if Harsetti goes first, then what happens if the next 4 units just go before your next 3 units? Doesn't that change nothing? Removing the speed RNG would balance the character. How about only 1 turn undispellable buff? They can't CR push on her turn, which will make units like Elena actually counter her. But the thing is, if you remove speed RNG, they are not going on her turn anymore, right? It's after her turn ends, then their turn begins. Going first guarantee is still huge. Her ulti is an anti-buff. Just cleanse. There's Young Senya, there's Elena, there's all this kind of stuff. And even those didn't really fix the problem with Harsetti anyways. You still have more advantage of more stats because you didn't build speed. Okay, maybe you guys are right. I mean, I'm a complete pleb when it comes to this kind of rankings, so maybe you guys are right. But the thing is, if this was such an obvious solution, then why didn't they just implement it from like, you know, super long ago?
If you're a veteran with this version of the card playing against a new player who came into the game after the nerf, that's not what this card does. They'll pick up the card, they'll read it, they'll think that's what it does, but it's not what it actually does. So that means that, again, they had to make a different version of the card. As you can see, the templating's a little bit different.
It is a physical card game,
Apologies
so
for the quality. This is like 2010 internet level
That's crazy.
resolution on our images. But essentially, even though they have the same artwork, they do not have the same text. Right? It is the same card, but it doesn't match. So they kind of have to issue out these new versions of the card as compensation for the, you know, veteran players.
Oh my god, that would be so great. Imagine if you are playing an online card game. No, not online card. You play like a physical card game, but because you have the old card, you will use that old card with the old card effect. You're like, nope, I didn't get a new one, and I paid like $1,000 for this. I'm damn well gonna use this fucking card because I spent $1,000 on it. And what the hell are you gonna do, right? So like, that would be so fucking great. It's like for the Harsetti version, right? How the players didn't install the update patch. So how the players had the old Harsetti, then the all new players that put Harsetti after this patch, they will have the new Harsetti. Then all the old Harsetti will keep the old Harsettis. Oh, that would be so fucking crazy.
It's just not a good look. So they don't want to have to nerf the card, right? And they super don't want to have to remove the card entirely from the pool. That's a really bad look also for the same reasons. You're going to piss a lot of people off, right? And it's just, again, it's just a bad thing. It's a precedent that they didn't set. They don't want to ban cards. They've said so many times. We do not want to ban cards. It's really, really important to us. So what did they do? They tried to design their way out of it with cards like Visual Jutsu. Whoa, so it says, change the effect of one of your opponent's cards to the following. Whoa. The power of the user becomes 0/0 during the turn, and the mental power becomes 0. So like, the key thing to take away here from this effect is it changes the effect of your opponent's cards to be a drawback. Now, why is that important? Because Overflowing Chakra cannot be affected by your opponent's effects, but the owner of Overflowing Chakra, their effects can affect their own cards. So it's like, what? As a designer, we're gonna make a young Senya. We're gonna get them all. It's like it's a Harsetti counter, but it's not super obvious that it's a Harsetti counter.
Oh my god.
Problem solved, right?
What the hell?
No, everyone still plays the problem. It's still ridiculous. It needs to be addressed. It needs to go. And then we arrive at the Silver Bullet. The actual honest-to-goodness Silver Bullet card. Control of the Ninetale. Players cannot...
Oh, you literally just cannot play the card. What the fuck? You literally just can't even play the card. Like, straight up, go fuck yourself.
Ninjas with Overflowing Chakra as their name.
Oh my god, so if you have Fenris,
it specifically names the problem.
That will be fucking crazy.
Everyone took a look at this card, and to make sure that it got into the hands of players, they gave it out as a free promo. So that everyone could get it. It's a low rarity thing that everyone has access to. Everyone has access to it. There's no problem anymore, guys.
Then you might as well just delete Harsetti from the game, bro. Right? Just delete her from the game. This is the equivalent of deleting Overflowing Chakra from the game. Correct? They made it a common card. Everybody has this card. Nobody needs to spend money, and then it's just gone. So what's the difference? Everyone has Fenris. You have Fenris, right? There's no Harsetti problem anymore. But everyone looked at this and just said, so it's clear that Overflowing Chakra is a problem. So you wasted a card slot that specifically says, guys, don't play Overflowing Chakra anymore. Which leads to the player base coming to the conclusion, shouldn't the card just not be legal, period? If you printed a card that said the card's not legal, just get it over with. Everyone knows it's a problem. Just do it.
Just ban the card.
Just do it.
And eventually, after a couple more months,
Harsetti
gets banned.
Oh my god.
Yes, there's an initial uproar over it, but then the game goes back to being good again.
Oh.
And this has always been my core problem with the no nerf policy with Smilegate. They made a promise to players back in 2019, which I'd be willing to venture, like 95% of those people, they don't even play this game anymore. They don't even lose sleep over it. But for some reason, the people that make this game are so terrified of the backlash that they're willing to make decisions like this. Like, it's insane to me. It's actually insane to me that you would actually name the problem on exclusive equipment for every player to see. It acknowledges that it's a problem. And you went about it this way. And I hope that the exclusive equipment solves the problem. Because if it doesn't solve the problem, then Smilegate's going to be stuck there with egg on their face. And we're all just going to sit there looking at him going, so is it time for a rework yet? Is it time for a nerf? So yeah, I'm not happy. Ooh. If you can't tell by the tone of this video. And forgive me for my tone throughout the video. I'll say that now. I've had a very stressful week. I'm coming off a pretty stressful day in general. But to see this, again, it's just baffling to me. Once again, I start to question, what are we doing to the game that I love? The game I've spent 7 years of my life with, right?
Harsetti ruined Epic.
I don't know how we arrived at this point. Like,
banger.
It's a complex problem. But this is a terrible solution. And honestly, they should just recall this. They should just walk it back.
And they did.
I think that it's a bad precedent because
they did.
Who knows?
They did.
What if Genesis Roz is a problem?
Oh shit.
And then we have to start making exclusive equipments for like red Mercedes that says when you're fighting against Genesis Roz, it does a thing. It's just lazy design.
Oh shit. Yep. That is
I hate it.
That is really, pretty much it.
Really do.
Yep, that is pretty much it. The Harsetti situation. Harsetti ruined Epic 7 ? Right? So yeah, and once again, you know, everything that he said in this video, I think that it is very, very fair, right? And they did in fact cancel the entire thing as of a couple of hours. They removed the entire thing completely. So what I'm guessing is gonna happen is they will actually address Harsetti herself eventually instead of going by this route. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you are letting the wound, right? The wound is like rotting, right? The wound is rotting and there's like fucking, there's like maggots all over the wound. It's like getting worse and worse. But instead of just like removing the, like fixing the wound itself, you're slapping on like a plaster and then another plaster and then another plaster and another plaster and another plaster. But the wound is still there. You know what I'm saying? So I think eventually it will be addressed. I just don't really know how they're gonna address it. Me personally, as a brand new guy in Epic 7, right? It's a brand new guy in Epic. I just got my Harsetti 3 days ago, and I'm gonna keep it a buck. I feel like I have more issues with Harsetti's on their team than her on my team. So, because I don't have units like Young Senya, right? I don't have units like Young Senya which can like counter Harsetti. I don't have good enough effect rest to prevent that stun. So even if the enemy has Harsetti, I'm always up to the fate of RNG on whether or not my team gets cooked. And 99% of the time, I would just rather not deal with Harsetti completely. I would just rather go ahead and fight another team. And then I'll use my own Harsetti against the speed team. Yeah, but me personally, I feel as a new player, you know, Harsetti I just don't even want to deal with all the RNG, right? It's just a complete waste of time. Like I can't even build around Harsetti's like the speed passive because it's RNG, right? Sometimes I go first, sometimes they go first, and you can't even guarantee anyway. So I can't just build like super slow and think that, you know, I'm gonna always go second. So what if they go first anyways, or I go first anyways, right? So that's pretty much it for the entire situation. The Harsetti situation, right? The Harsetti KO Epic 7, ruin Epic 7. Word of the day is gonna be confusion. Join YouTube, join Discord, join Twitter, all the best. We're gonna see you guys next time. Take care.